Ryan, another situation that you ran into that wasn't as involved with battle, but in your book you mentioned the chapter, The School Teacher, and describe that experience, meeting this family and finally understanding that, Saddam had such a grip, you said, on Iraq that even while he was gone, there were still ramifications for the people who were freed from his tyranny.
Well, going in, reverting back to the training we had, one of the things that we really was pushed into us was kind of like the dehumanizing these guys going in, trying to learn our place on the food chain. We're the top dogs. We're the infantrymen that run the show. So you learn that the people that we're in control of, make sure that we know that we're in control of them. So you really kind of separate yourself from the emotions, what they're going through, what their life is like. We didn't really have any training into the customs or their lives regularly anyways. So we went in, and I didn't really have compassion or whatever for their situation. I felt like they weren't doing enough for themselves anyways, and that's why we were there. And that's just the mindset that I was in. And during one of these, in my book, I mentioned the school teacher that we came across. It was just a standard patrol where I was a dismounted element. And I went in the home of a lady. I think we were just kind of resting, kind of getting shade during the patrol, and the lady started talking to us. Turned out to have perfect English. She was actually an English teacher. So there was no language barrier between us. We just kind of open, free-reined, asked a lot of questions, and she poured her heart to us, explaining her situation of being connected with the Ba'ath Party regime and how it's such a negative thing to have under your name. But that's, if you didn't admit your loyalty to that, and this is Tikrit, Saddam's hometown, everybody pretty much was connected with the Ba'ath Party somehow, and she too was. And now that regime was gone, a lot of people are renouncing that and going against those that sided with the Ba'ath Party. And she found herself in a situation where she couldn't get hired anywhere, and she couldn't teach English to anybody, and she wasn't really a political person per se at all, and she just wanted to teach English. And she just, because of that time period, the time period that she was in, she got caught up with the whole Iraq during the 80s and 90s and 2000. She was kind of stuck in this rut where she couldn't find a job just because she was connected with the Ba'ath Party, and I felt really, really bad for her, being from a household of teachers, and talking with this woman, and she was really sincere. And what could we do? We were infantrymen. That's not something you train for. And basically, there was nothing we could do. I mean, that's such a broader scheme, such a political mess. I mean, that's not our job. So it was just one of those situations where, I'm sorry, but you have to say, we'll do your best. But when you walk out that door, there's nothing you could do. I never really heard whatever happened to her, but I don't know.
Hope for the best.
Hope for the best.
We'll close this segment by talking about one of the chapters you mentioned in the book. Or one of the chapters in the book, you mentioned your 21st birthday and spending it over there, and what a unique experience that was. You say waking up at 6 a.m. in something in the book that you described as a bed, which was a hole dug in the ground. Yeah. Talk about that experience and how it was different and how you feel about the difference from most 21st birthday parties in the United States.
Yeah. Well, I deployed as a 20-year-old, and being around the guys that I was with, a lot of them were over 21, a lot of them were under 21, but those that were over had really cool stories for the 21st birthday. Obviously, I always pictured my 21st birthday would probably be drunk in a bar, propped up on the bar somewhere, and have a good story. Just because, finally legal to drink, go out and have a drink at a bar and not worry about getting caught or anything. Because I've done plenty of underage things, don't get me wrong. But, I was finally legal. But I felt like I wasn't going to have a cool story because all my friends had, I'd always hear them, and even in my platoon, because we drank a lot as a platoon. So everybody had their cool stories. Oh, when I was 21, I did this, or I went here, and I got really drunk. I'm like, whatever. They're all stories. Everybody's got one. But I wanted one. I didn't want this to be like my 21st birthday of, just another day. But that's the way it was turning out to be. But we ended up getting sent out on this little mission that kept us out in the desert for a few days. And it was right around my birthday time. So lucky me, I was thinking. I already knew that the chance of me being in a bar was out of the question. No doubt. I mean, you're deployed, buddy. That's what you get. Right. But I was out on a patrol, and I stayed the night. Basically, to avoid the wind, you kind of dig yourself a hole in the desert, kind of kind of like digging your own grave.
Yeah.
So I spent the night in the little dusty old little hole that I made. Woke up the next morning, 21st birthday. I'm 21. Doesn't feel any different than any other day, other than everybody giving me the little sarcastic "Happy birthday, happy 21st birthday." Sucks for you.
Right.
I'm like, buddy, man, you don't need to.
You got a rich response.
Yeah,
on that,
like
yeah.
you don't. Yeah. I let them know my piece, my opinion. But during the day we had to continue the mission, and basically we were just patrolling on our feet, walking up and down the hot afternoon out in these farm fields, these western desert, and we came across an abandoned house that had some anti-tank mines and grenades inside of it, and we're like, ooh, this is leading to something, something productive, something in our favor. So we pulled out our little metal detectors and we started combing around the fields around it, and I'll tell you, man, we hit a gold mine. We just started pulling all these artillery rounds out of these farm fields. I mean, no one was around, but obviously somebody was keeping this for something. And it was pretty much an IED factory of what we're pulling out. We're pulling out all these giant artillery rounds. I'm talking over 100 of each, round 155s, South African 155s, which are even larger. And then we started finding these the detonation cords, the timers, whatever you needed to make IEDs. We literally, it was like Christmas. It was just a huge bounty that we stocked up. And before the sun went down, man, we just piled it in one big pile and scored one for the good guys. Threw some C4 on there. We're like, all right, we're going to blow this thing. And before I knew it, my platoon all got together and we're like, hey, we want to give you, Ryan, we want to give you the privilege of detonating this thing. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is awesome. I was like, happy birthday. And then I forgot during the day. I'm like, oh my God, you're right. So my 21st birthday turned to be absolutely a memorable story that I'll always carry. And I got to push that button, and that sucker was like Nagasaki, Hiroshima effort. This thing was just skyrocketed in the sky, and it's such a loud explosion. And
Something got wasted, right?
oh, yes.
Ryan A. Conklin, author, turret gunner, MTV celebrity, public speaker. Thank you for writing the book. Thank you for coming in and sharing your story. And hopefully we'll see you again here on Veterans Chronicles.
Great. Thank you for having me.